to Finding Calm in the Chaos. I am Denise Sith, and this is my podcast. Hello again. This is Denise Sith, and this is another episode of Finding Calm in the Chaos. So, oh my gosh, can I just tell you, still on the struggle bus. I got like a first class ticket. Awesome sauce. So I've been kind of doing some digging on this, and number one, I want to thank everybody, all the listeners who reach out after the last one and a few, the last episode was crazy, and hope we're not bringing in 2023 like this. But if we are, it is what it is, right? What do you mean hope or not? It kind of is, right? I just did it. But I wanted to just kind of thank everybody who reached out to me, and because that's like huge, right? And I appreciate it. I don't share for the sympathy. I'm going to be super honest with you. I have issues with, it's going to be okay, Denise. And I'm like, yeah, I know it is. It's just kind of my personality. I don't do this, like I said, for sympathy or because I'm not going to get through it, or I do it so that other people know who are feeling this way, but who have been doing it longer and may feel isolated, and that they're alone, that they're not alone. And that it's very common right now after 2 years of a complete poop storm, and now going into, year 3 where, eggs are a hot commodity, because of the quote unquote, chicken flu or whatever the hell they're calling it. It is what it is. I guess for me, it's never been a big deal because number one, we get eggs during the summer from a awesome friend who has chickens. And number two, because I always pay for like these super bougie organic, my chicken has 300 acres of land and eats vegetables and grubs and all. I don't know. I'm just making that up. I'm just going, I'm being a little puffing it up here. I'm puffing it up. I buy those eggs. So they're always like $8. But like, to go to the store and see like garbage eggs for $8, yeah, that's pretty alarming. But there you go. No better way to give up eggs then, huh? I love eggs, so I can't. So sorry. I don't know where this went. Just started talking about eggs. But that's like one of the stressors right now. Going to the store, broccoli in my area, finding broccoli. Who would have thunk? I hate frozen broccoli because it's mushy. And it's never the right, even the steaming ones. Nope. And I'll be honest with you, there's certain brands, it's me, there's certain brands that I won't buy for corporate reasons, like personal we don't mix, what they're contributing to, what I want to contribute to in life. And so we simply just won't buy them. Boom. And I think if more people did that, I'm just saying, that we could really straighten out this food supply system. But yeah, so there are certain brands that I just won't buy because of who they're owned by and that kind of stuff. But, broccoli is a big issue in our area. We can't find broccoli. We love it. Peter loves it. Buster loves it. Everybody's loving it. Everybody loves it, but Chica, she hates it. But the broccoli that you can find is in the bag, which I don't like. But when it is in the bag, it's nasty. Like you have to eat it all in one day, like immediately. Like you open your bag, you unpack everything, and then you just take out the broccoli and start eating it. I'm not exaggerating on that one at all. It's that bad. So I'm like, whatever. Guess what we're going to grow in our garden this summer? Broccoli. There's that. And I can't have chicken. So I'm just going to literally start paying any scraps that I have. I'm just going to like give to her so she could feed her chickens. And that could be like pay dirt for eggs. What else is going on? So I have found that I'm doing something I've never done before. And that is that I'm walking around fragile. I'm usually pretty, and obviously this is all from this journey that I've been on. of just, tapping into my inner child, coming to terms with that, honoring it, what I went through as a kid, and that, hey, put it to rest, right? It's okay to honor it, remember it, but it shouldn't control me and be me living it, right? Because that was the past, and this is me now, and I'm a different person. So I can't have those same feelings and responses and ways that I do things, like from inner child feelings, because as an adult, I'm not in that position. So did a lot of that work, and now I think that has left me, it has taken down basically one of my, I probably had like a huge wall, a moat, a double wall, a mountain, a moat, then another double wall, sand desert, a moat, a mountain, and a wall with a moat to my castle. That's kind of how it is to get to me. And that's not an exaggeration. But I feel that now that I'm down to just like my castle and my moat, that I'm a lot more fragile. And this is good and bad. It's good because it allows me to feel and to not go through life so numb and angry and, constantly on the defense and looking for the situation that you got to handle. That's not a good way to live, I can tell you that. But it's also a huge disadvantage, because when you are going through life and you only have a couple, a moat to walk through before you get to the insides, you feel things differently, right? You are responsive to things. I am reacting to things differently. And I'm almost annoying myself. I know this is horrible, but I literally am annoying myself. Okay, probably little Denise. I'm probably annoying her because she was a hard ass biatch. I am struggling with that when I am feeling overwhelmed. And this is what I don't understand. I don't believe, outside of the addition to the puppy, which for me, I don't think it's a big deal, outside of he wants a lot of attention and I can't give it to them, 24/7, nobody could do that. But I have to have other people in my house contributing to the puppy besides me. That's kind of where we're at a standstill. Mr. Sith gets home and he's like done. And then I got to give him like a detailed report on what he needs to do, even though he's sitting around playing games. I can't with that. But we're working on it, and he knows how I feel about it. And so, that's part of a growing relationship, right? That you can have open dialogue and talk about it. And unfortunately, what's happening now is that I just keep talking about it. So before I just screamed and hollered and did everything, now things happen and I literally crumble and fall apart. Like my body cannot handle it. It's like, I'm sorry, we're not used to feeling like this. And I'm telling you, that's what it is. I'm feeling again. And this, I believe, is one of the greatest contributors to the anxiety that I've been having during the day. Right now, I am chewing CBD gummies like they're freaking Tic Tacs, okay? And they're taking the edge off, but I don't want to do that all day. I mean, let's be honest, I just don't want to do that. But they're helping. It's a nice Band-Aid in the interim. But I do believe that a lot of this is stemming, now that I'm looking back at it and doing. So I think it has a lot to do with taking down all those inner child walls. And I'm just like, it's just like me in the adult world. But I also think it's also the stress of the current environment, which, I really don't give too much, substance to what's going on in the world. We don't watch news. I haven't watched news in like 3-4 years. I don't watch any media at all, like with respects to news outlets, journalism. Because it's not journalism, let's be honest. And I'm sorry if you feel otherwise, but basically if you're watching news, I feel like it's just they're telling you what they want you to be or what they need you to believe. And if I want to find out what's going on in the world, you can do like a couple searches and figure that out for yourself. Like go to the org site. You want to know what's going on in Chicago, Denise, and how many shootings actually really happened? Just go to the Chicago site. They got to report them. Boom, they're right there. You want to know what's going on with all the vaccinations and all that kind of stuff? Go to the CDC site. That's fun. That's a fun trip right there. I'm not even going to talk about that. And, that kind of stuff. And we don't watch TV outside of 3 channels. We watch Food Channel, Food Network, and HGTV. And Peter has a couple channels that he watches. We would totally get rid of Xfinity, except they have like a hierarchy in our freaking neighborhood, and there is no other internet provider. So for us, we have to have them in order to have the internet, because if we just have internet through them, it costs as much as having the cable. So we're like, okay. So apparently our town is working on that, but they need to work on it a little faster, because we would gladly get rid of all of the cable TV. We like our streaming. We can get everything we need on it. And most of the stuff we watch now are series that are already streaming or documentaries, and I can get those on, we pretty much stream everything. We subscribe to it all, and it's still way cheaper. Literally, it's a quarter of the cost of what actual cable costs. And we only watch 3 channels. There's that. Well, maybe 5 if we had pizza. But, in addition to all that, sorry, it's a little tangent there. You guys know I love my tangents. But a little whoopsie went down the road there. A little sip there of water. So what I got like lost track of my time here, but what I wanted to talk about today was how I really feel that this fragility that I'm feeling, and just little minor things of overwhelming that are just, I feel pretty normal to be. I think it's normal to have a lot of things happen to you during the day that may be overwhelming. How you react to those things are how you're feeling. But this is new to me, right? And if it's happening to you for a long time and this is how you're feeling, dudettes, we need to talk, right? We need to take care of this. I'm seeing a therapist. I'm doing devotional in the morning and night now, because I feel it's helping me sleep a little bit. And we all know I don't sleep. It's part of just all of this uncertainty of that I always have everything structured. We have to factor that in as well. I'm trying to be unstructured. And as a result of that, I feel like it's a little too willy-nilly for me. Like I'm not used to the reaction of something that might happen if it's not planned out. I know that sounds absolutely ludicrous, and I don't know if anybody else feels the same way about this, but when I detailed every hour, half hour, 15-minute blocks, I'm not going to lie. When you time block your day and then you take that away so that you can kind of relax on the rigidity because it's not working to your advantage, right? It could be overwhelming. So like example, this morning I'm trying to homeschool. I've got, Peter's been kind of difficult, but I've also, we're into 1st grade, 2nd grade studies now because we're homeschool. I've pulled in some 3rd grade studies because, he's higher in other levels. That's pretty common with homeschool. He might be doing 1st grade reading, but he's doing 3rd grade math, And I know that schools get this, but I'm going to tell you this. My kid is damn smart, and he is because of me, because I'm homeschooling. I don't owe that to any teacher. I'm his teacher, and I am dang proud of that. But there are times, and I tell him, you have to respect our time that we are in school, our time that we study, because if you were in what we call big block school, if you were in big block school right now, you'd literally be droning every day for 8 hours or however long it is now, just sitting there like a drone, basically being told to sit. We're standing, we're playing games, we're reading stuff, we're taking breaks, we're doing snack breaks, we're having fun, okay? I know nobody's teacher is taking a break doing Minecraft Uno in the middle of their studies. Nope. Just Miss Mama is who's doing it, okay? Because it's math. and it's fun and it's colors and it's matching and it's strategic and it's Uno. She's got Minecraft, so who cares? Who doesn't love a game of Uno? So anyway, another little sidetrack. But, I'm trying to do that with him. So lately he's been a little difficult, right? Because I've really made sure that he understands that we have to do multiple, this isn't like we're doing some hooked on phonics and you get to do a worksheet and write some alphabet. You're in like first grade, going into second, doing third grade work. We really have to get down to things. And I don't do it like straight through. Like we do 40 minutes of this and then we do like an exercise break or a Uno break. And then we do like 30 minutes of this and then a break. And then we do 15 minutes of this and then lunch. And then we come back and we do reading. And, we'll just read a book and hang out on the couch, that kind of stuff. We'll cook something together. That's homeschool, okay? We're going to do some chores. That's homeschool, okay? That's the great part of homeschool. But when it comes down to like, we have to actually start we're doing like the states of the United States. We're going through those now, doing capitals, all of that. I know that kids in first grade aren't doing that, but we're doing it because that's where we're at. That's what I'm choosing to teach and not like some nonsense. I'll let that go. I'll leave that to your imagination. But then the dogs will start. And the puppy, when he's bored, because I won't play with him in the morning because I'm doing school, which is okay, right? A puppy requires like 2 hours of play a day plus walks. He gets the walks, he has a yard, and he gets 2 hours of playtime. He gets more than that. But when it's homeschool time, it's not time for the dog. It's puppy's time to sit down, chew, do what he wants to do, right? With a chew toy. But this is my time and it's school time. And you have to lay those things even with the puppies now, right? I mean, he needs to know. But then he starts barking. Then he sets Sheik off barking. Then they're running around like fools. Plus, I'll be honest with you. I went the other day. We'll talk about this in a little bit. I'll just tell you now and then we'll take a break. But I have been doing the things for my therapy. So right now I'm hurting, right? My ankle and foot aren't hurting. My knee is hurting again. And so I've kind of figured out how the knee, I couldn't figure out at first what was agitating it because sometimes it's perfectly fine and I'm having no issues. I was taking the steps in a normal gait the other day, meaning I can go one step over the other, with the foot, like you would normally go up a stair. Again, today I'm back to, yesterday, I'm back to one step at a time. And because I'm afraid my knee's going to give out. And I've tracked down what it is. And so at least now I can address that with my CM practitioner. For those you don't know, CM is Chinese medicine. I have literally just poo on Western medicine right now. I'm done with doctors. They've screwed me for the last time. So I'm going to fix myself using Eastern medicine again, and I'm just sticking with it. I'm going to take a quick break for a sponsor, and then we'll be right back, talk a little bit more about grief. I know, strange, huh? We're bringing that in here. Going to talk a little bit more about grief. We're briefly coming back. Wow, this is a good one, right? I know you guys like when I don't like to like script this stuff out. This is kind of who I am, right? And I am overwhelmed and I am, having an anxiety-ridden day. And so this is what happens. Here's a little break. I'll see you in a short bit. Hello, friends. I've got a question for you. How much do you love your dog? This was an easy question for me. Loads. And as I started to look at all the ways that I can increase their quality of life, I realized there were just too many options. How was I going to choose? And that is why I partner with my friends over at Pet Matrix. Will, Summer, and Tanisha take a scientific approach. They combine organic, natural compounds with highly effective peptides to aid in a dog's health journey. All you really need to know is that the results are nothing short of amazing, but it's basically because they help me understand that building around the 3 pillars of health, immune and gut support, cognitive function, and mobility and inflammation, we can not only increase their quality of life, but also increase their quantity of life. I have my two, both Chica, who is a Shiba Inu, 14 years old, and our puppy Buster, who is a 3.5-month-old Newfoundland. Both take the pet supplement Superhero, which is all three of those, and they are thriving. You too can check out Pet Matrix at www.mypetmatrix.com and tell them Denise sent you. Again, that's www.mypetmatrix.com. And because we love family-owned business, you will receive a 15% discount using promo code Denise15 at checkout, so you can help your furry babies be all that they can be. Again, that's www.mypetmatrix.com and receive a 15% discount with promo code Denise15, DENISE15 at checkout. Hello, welcome back. Okay, so we were talking today about basically anxiety, anger, and grief. Three things that I apparently am walking into 2023 with. But I'm not going to be I'm not walking out of them with them. So I hope they're not too attached to their surroundings, because I'm dropping them hot by spring, that's for sure. Or however long it lasts, let's just be honest. So there's more to this. So I was reading, I think the reason we were talking about why I feel so fragile and why we feel so fragile. And I really broken down and dug deep to find out. So again, like I just talked earlier about in the first half about how I feel that since I've taken down the walls of all my inner child, self-defense and barriers, now that those are down, I'm way more vulnerable than I was before I did that, obviously. But now, for those of you who listened or follow me on Facebook last week, you know that on Christmas Eve, we lost my good friend and childhood friend, might I add, and Peter's godmother. And it was sudden, unexpected. This is not like, she was 53 years old and was extremely active. So we just didn't expect it. Let's just leave it at that. There's a lot more to it that I believe that is the portion of this. There's a story that I am not going to share because it's not my story to share. So I just want to, so I'm going to keep it at that. So don't ask me what happened, whatever. It's a shame that it happened, but it's not my story to share. What I can share is that I feel like it shouldn't have happened. And that's my personal feelings, of course, right? I don't know the reality. I wasn't there. But in my medical background and my personal knowledge of just health in general, I feel like it's something that could have been prevented had the doctors not treated something that she had done like a procedure, but rather looked at her as a person. And this is a huge thing even with me and my ankle and foot surgery. And I've seen it and heard it countless times over and over and over again. Our current medical system is treating us like procedures and medical codes and not people. And it's a problem because what's happening is that all I did was holler and yell and, hey, no better proof than I podcasted about it prior to the surgery, trying to get people to understand in the medical field that, hey, I'm a little concerned about my lupus. Shouldn't we do ABC before we go into surgery? And I was either ignored or told, don't worry about it. I do this all the time on people with lupus and mesenteric paniculitis and celiac and RA and Lyme's. And I mean, like, you know what I'm saying? It's they look at the book and they're looking at procedures and they're not looking at us as people. And that's becoming a problem. And it's ironic that they didn't want to acknowledge or even look at my lupus prior to surgery. But now that my ankle and foot is a total poop show, well, now it's because I have lupus. Duh. Well, Denise, what did you expect? You have autoimmune disease. What the hell did you do the surgery for then? I'm worse now than I was prior. And this is I think, because I had my surgery, I'm lining it up, peeps. I'm lining it up. Stick with me. I think because of these situations that have happened to me leading up to her death, which I believe was as a result of a surgery that, number one, should she had been looked at like a person and not a procedure, I think could have been prevented. It pisses me off. I'm freaking angry about it. And I understand that anger is a part of grief. And this is the first time I'm like grieving as an adult for somebody. I'm super fortunate by that. Like, praise Jesus, right? I'm super fortunate that I have not really lost people in my immediate family. My mom and dad are both alive. Both are sick. You know, they have like diseases that I understand will take them. Okay. But I am fortunate that they're both here. Okay. And I've not lost a sibling. And so that's a big deal, right? I didn't really ever have like, I'll be honest with you, like best friends, because I was always so, cordoned off. I cordoned myself off from having close relationships. I've talked about that too. I'm not ashamed to say it. I did it to protect myself. I needed to do that at the time. It was important that I did that, or I wouldn't be able to function. And so I think now that all of these things on the timeline, my messed up surgery, a new puppy, amping up the homeschooling, on Christmas Eve, I find out that she dies, and now I'm like an utter effing mess. And like I said, I've never really grieved before because I didn't know, I haven't had loss. I've lost grandmothers, but when I lost the grandmother, the great grandmother, I should say, that I was close to, I was young. So it was different, right? It wasn't like processing as an adult grieving. It almost was like, okay, this happens. I get it, right? We're not going to see her anymore. She went to heaven. Okay, I get that. I don't even really know what I thought. That's what I'm just saying now, because that's what I believe now. But my other grandparents, like my mom's and my dad's parents, I didn't have relationships with. So there was no grieving when they died because there was no relationship. So this is the first person that has been in a personal relationship with me that has passed. And I'm very fortunate because I'm 53. So I get that. And so I was reading like the death of a friend, a close friend, right? That has a certain, relationship with you that is special or outstanding. And, she was my son's godmother. We had a special relationship with her. I might not have talked to her every day, but that didn't matter, right? Because good friendships don't have to have that, And it literally, they're saying that you can have grief up to 12 months after you lose a friend. 12 months. And I'm thinking to myself, you know what? I am not going through this damn year just grieving. I need to figure out how to manage this, right? Because the anxiety that it's causing, and yes, I'm talking to my therapist about this, and she's been very helpful. It's just, but studies show, like that's legit, like that's a statistic, that studies suggest that the grieving period lasts for around 12 months for friends that had a connection to you. So, like, how do you cope with the loss of a real good friend? And so I had to sit here and I'm thinking, yeah, I'm literally like having to discuss how to cope with grief. Again, super thankful that I'm 53 and this is the first time I've had to deal with this. But man, I have to deal with this because I can't walk around my house that, you know, the dog's barking, Peter's like eye rolling me because he doesn't want to do one more paragraph or he wants me to do the next page. And I'm like, yeah, I already did this in first grade, bud. And the other dog's barking and I've still got to order like, you know, dinner, got to figure out what's for dinner, but I'm still cleaning up like breakfast and, you know, I got to vacuum. No, I'm not going to vacuum. Do I have time to vacuum? I need to mop the floor again. I've never mopped my floor so many times. I've like fired all the cleaning services. I've never mopped my floor so much since I've had this dog. He is the biggest pig, which is pretty common for newfies. But like, I'm going to teach him. I saw online, this lady was teaching her husky how to wash his face, how to dry his face after he drank. I'm literally seriously considering this. This is what I may have to do. We're actually hiring a trainer to help me with just a little bit. Obviously, he's a big dog and I can't be messing around. And one of our biggest issues, so I think a third party has to tell Mr. Sith, but our biggest issue is inconsistency with anyone else in the house but me. And I'm like, sorry, peeps, this dog's too big for your inconsistency because you just don't feel like it. So coping. Wait, sip. I need a sip. Okay. Things that I've been told I need to cope. How to cope when you lose a good friend. And that is accept your feelings. And I'm doing that, right? And honestly, if you are grieving for someone over 12 months, these are things you need to go do as well. Because there is such a thing that I was told is that there's like an extended, you're like stuck in grief because you didn't process properly the grief stages. That's a legit thing. So if you have lost someone that was near and dear to you, whomever that may be, and you are still grieving and it has been longer than a year, like grieving where you're having crying bursts more than once a week still, you know, or once a week even, you know, if you've lost somebody for 12 months and you're still having the crying jags that often, you need to speak to someone just to help kind of, you know, urge you and put you back on the path to your grieving so you can complete the cycle. So accept your feelings, which I have. I'm accepting the fact that I can't change anything. You know, it's happened, it's done. And I'm pissed about it. Because she was an awesome person. And I don't care what anybody thinks, but there's like about 200 people that I can name off the top of my head that I think should have gone before she did. Just saying. 2, write about it. Been there and done that. So I am writing about it. I write about it, but then I burn it. I know that sounds weird, but I have a thing about people writing stuff and then people find your shit and poop. Forgot it's Wednesday. So Wednesday broadcast, Denise. Stop the cussing. 3, be patient. And I am being extremely patient with myself because I almost get agitated at myself when the dog's barking and Peter's doing all this stuff. And then I'm literally just start bawling. And then I'm like, really? Get yourself together, girl. Pull yourself together. But then I'm like, okay, like, you know, and usually I'm like, sweet baby Jesus, I need you right now. Like, literally, like, come and slap me in the face. Jesus, please. 10 to your needs. I'm tending. I'm doing my devotional to calm myself in the morning and before I go to bed. I am taking care of my ankle by going to my CM practitioner. I am talking about my feelings with Mr. Sith and Peter, and I am talking it through to make sure I'm following and healing appropriately with the steps that I'm taking with my therapist. It's important that you do this. Honor the good times. Yes, she was fun AF, period. If you knew her, she had a laugh. I loved it. It was a mix between like, like a witch's cackle and like a kid's giggle. I loved it. She had a good laugh. And just how we could talk. You could talk to her about anything. And then, like, if you talk to her about something, she was one of those friends, because I have very rare friends who are like me. And she was like me in a lot verbally, in that when you would say something, she would be like, first, I'm sorry you feel that way. Number 2, stop it. Stop it already. And I'd be like, oh, or she'd be that person where, like, you tried on this really cool, like, fake pleather, cow looking jacket. And I'd be like, isn't this cute? And she'd be like, you look like a fat cow. That's a no. And I'd be like, oh, okay. Now that you say it, kind of thought that. So she was always the kind to deal you with the brutal honesty. And you either accepted it, you don't. But I wholeheartedly accepted it. And I appreciated her and loved her for that. And 6, lean on others. Okay, I'm working on that. I have some people that have said, we need to talk and we'll probably need to reach out to each other on this. And I need to do that. People from my grammar school that all showed up at the memorial, stuff like that. People I talked to in between all that. Now apparently we're having a 40th year reunion. Lord help me. From grammar school. 40 years. Holy poop bags. And 7, reach out. What the heck do you think I'm doing right now? I'm reaching out to every single one of you, because I'm not the only person at any given day that is suffering from grief or suffering from anxiety or suffering from anger, or maybe you're just bawling. And you know what happens when you have all of that for an extended period of time? Even if you're not grieving right now. If you have anxiety and anger or sadness all the time, you know what? Now you're depressed. So you got to start kicking this in the behind now and identify it. Don't feel like, oh, it's just you. It's just you. It's not just you. 4 and 5 people. We talked about it. First podcast of the year. If you want to know, if you think that you're the only person that's stressed out and living a crazy life, listen to my first podcast of 2023 and tell me that doesn't make you be like, dang, somebody else is living mental just like I am. It's not just you. It's not. It is not. And so you have to take the time to deal with it like I am. You have to, because I'm not going to keep living like this. And like for me, I was feeling overwhelmed this morning. I bawled a couple times. I got angry once. I had to go outside because the dog somehow wound up wrapped around one of our arbites. Is it an arbite? Arbitine? I call them pencil trees in the backyard. You know what I'm saying? They look like pencils. But I have no idea how he got stuck on it. Like, what are you walking through the tree, dude? They're pretty thick. So I'm outside like bawling. It's raining. This was like my morning. Like this legit happened this morning. I'm bawling. And I'm like trying to hold on to him. And he's like, dunk, ba-dunk, ba-dunk, jumping all over me, 41 plus pounds, a puppy, while I'm trying to pull it through a tree with complete, lupus hands. And I can't even make a fist right now, but I'm trying to pull something all wrapped around a tree. They have all those little branches that get stuck. So I had to undo them, walk them in while he's like, ba-dunk, 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 and then get in to put him in the house, but then I got to wipe him because it's raining and he's a water dog. So that just means like he finds any mud patch. He literally will like walk when it's raining. He walks around outside with his mouth open and just like, and like bites it. He bites water. Puppies, right? It's actually adorable to watch. But at the moment, it wasn't adorable. At the moment, I needed a safe space. I needed a piece of chocolate and a dark room. But instead, I had to walk him in, wipe him down, walk back out, in my slippers, might I add, okay? Slippers, a house dress, and a sweater. Go back outside and crawl into arbites, which I know are filled with spiders and mosquitoes. The mosquitoes ain't there now, but I know the damn spiders are there. And undo the chain so I can get him in. Why is the dog on the chain? Again, because the neighbors burned down my damn fence. When we first moved in, I have not been able to replace that portion of the fence. Number one, because it's freaking expensive. And number two, because it really just didn't bother me. And he's blowing off the insurance company and stuff. So basically all they did was put a lien on him for the amount. And I'm like, okay, my insurance isn't covering it. I didn't burn down the house. I mean, they went after him, the insurance company. But what am I going to do? Go over there and burn his fence down? You know what I'm saying? So we have temporary fencing that, of course, Mr. Sith delayed upon. Sort of like our deck, what's it called? Skirting. I found this awesome deck skirting, and I wanted it put around so that the dog, Sheikah specifically, wouldn't go under the deck, because she gets under there and then she gets all tied up. And I have boxes of that. He never finished that. Plus the temporary fencing. Plus we have a new shed going in this year, probably like in late fall, maybe. I'm not sure yet. We have a bunch of, he never took down the plants from the vegetable garden. So that's going to have to be totally uprooted. It's like he never finishes anything. The whole front porch needs to be like power washed. It's filthy. The siding is filthy. The doors are filthy. That needs to be power washed. Now the deck needs to be power washed because, puppy has been pooping on it. And I'm like, ew. I mean, he doesn't poop on it always, but sometimes like in the middle of the night, he's got to go. We let him out because he tells us he wants to go out, and he like walks right out 6 feet and takes a poop. And I'm like, great. At least he didn't go in the house, so I can't complain. But there you go. I'm going to leave you with that. The poop story. Whoop, whoop. Anyway, that's where we are this week. If you ever need anything, always feel free to reach out to anybody. Reach out to me. We're here for you. Until next week, don't forget, if anything you do in today's world, lead with kindness. Thank you, friends, for spending this time with me today. If you found some calm listening in, please take a moment to subscribe to Finding Calm in the Chaos. And just so you don't miss out on future episodes, make sure you're receiving notifications. Thanks again. Until next time, lead with kindness.